Oh boy. Well, folks, we are alive after close to 30 minutes of technical problems. We finally got the show set up and on the road. Apologies, we were supposed to start at 8:07 and yeah, it's almost close to 8:30 now. Sorry for the technical delays. At any rate, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting live as always from South Florida, here at the NGC studios. Contact info as usual. You can reach me on Twitter and on Instagram at 70_NGC. Hashtag Whitfield Report. At Gab, over on Gab, at Sam Whitfield. TheSamWhitfield.com is my web address, and then Facebook.com/Whitfield Report. And as always, you can listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcasts from if you want to download the audio version after the show. Evening to you as well, Chuck. And for those of you who are interested in commenting on the live video as well, you can sign into YouTube and like and comment there. And right now we have Chuck, aka Locomotive Breath, in the chat room. So thanks for participating. And folks, I've got to be honest, tonight's show is going to be a bit of a quiet show tonight. There wasn't that much in the news this week that was really groundbreaking in terms of any new policy or anything really new that happened. I do want to get a bit into the Trump rally that happened here in Florida. There were people who thought I was going to go to that rally. I did not go to the rally in Tampa. I didn't even know about it until like 2 days before it happened, and by then the tickets to the Trump rally for Ron DeSantis in Tampa were pretty much all sold out. My friend Dan Sandini was able to go to the rally in Tampa, and I may try and get Dan on here in the next few weeks to talk about his experience at the rally. He's a longtime Trump supporter. He also has done some work as a citizen journalist back when he lived in Portland, Oregon. So long time guest, but he'll be back on the show in a few weeks, hopefully. Alright, but going back to the Trump rally, I do want to look at some highlights of the rally, what I could find. When I was trying to get clips of the rally, it was hard because they had on YouTube, they had streams of the entire rally, which was around 3 hours. And obviously I didn't want to get the full, I didn't want to stream the full rally, but I did want to get a few of the highlights. Surprisingly, highlights were difficult to get a hold of, but I did manage to get one from one of the local newscasts in my area, just kind of a brief summary of the rally. And we'll get to some of this stuff with Jim Acosta and CNN here in a bit. But yeah. Also, real quick announcement before we get started. Folks, I made $15 off of Patreon for the month of July. And I guess, well, the way Patreon works, for those who don't know, is you get paid the month after for the previous month. So let's say that you signed up to someone on Patreon in July. I get paid for July. I get paid for that in August. So in July, I had 2 new signups. One from Canna, or the artist formerly known as Canna Bear, and then Catherine Holiday, who contributed at the $5 level, and all together with a couple other patrons who I guess dropped off at later on. I made on $15 so for those of you who contributed even at the dollar level, thank you so much. And once again, for those of you who are interested in signing up, you can go to patreon.com/Whitfield and support the show for as little as $1. And it really helps me out with some expenses like running the website and other things. I'd like to maybe improve some of the audio here in the future and get some more equipment to make the show even better. But for now this is pretty good, and thanks for supporting the show in general. Alright, so let's get on to Florida. And so this was a local newscast summary of basically the rally in Tampa. And I just wanted to play a little bit of this because I think it's, I think for all the guff we give the national media, I think the local news media, I mean, it's still pretty biased too to the left, but they're not as blatantly bad as perhaps CNN is, which, as I said, we'll get to later on in the show. Anyway, here's an excerpt from the local news stream in Tampa about the rally in Florida that happened on Tuesday. Cut number 1, go.
Trump is back at the White House tonight after giving Florida voters a clear directive for who he wants in the governor's office.
ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska begins our live coverage from the state fairgrounds where the president rallied alongside several thousand supporters. Michael?
Wendy, people were super excited tonight. Sometimes their cheers were deafening. The president doing everything in his power to make sure that he keeps allies here in Florida.
Everybody needs to support Ron DeSantis.
President Donald Trump back in Florida, his first rally in Tampa since winning the White House, now stumping next to U.S. Congressman Ron DeSantis to win the governor's race.
We can fight illegal immigration.
The wall, one of the most cheered topics of the night, DeSantis touting Trump's border security plan at the podium and also in a new political ad released this week.
Build the wall.
DeSantis' wife, Casey, seizing this huge political opportunity to win over Florida voters.
Ron, again, I want you to know, is running for the right reasons. Not because he wants to be somebody. It's because he wants to do great things.
The atmosphere inside the expo hall of the Florida State Fairgrounds was like a giant party. Supporters hanging on to every word. He talked about North Korea, the Iran nuclear deal, China, the economy, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem, a wide range of topics that also included bashing Hillary Clinton and NFL players protesting the national anthem. But Trump always circling back to why he is in Tampa.
Earlier today, I also spent time with your current governor, one of our nation's truly great leaders, Rick Scott. But I wanted to be here to formally endorse Ron. You got to get out and vote. Get your friends, get your colleagues, get your neighbors, and get out and vote in November.
So as you heard, Governor.
Right. Well, so yeah, it was basically a gubernatorial stumping rally that Trump did in Tampa on Tuesday. Very high energy from what I saw on Tuesday, and I was able to stream a little bit of it, but not much. Overall, though, still seemed to be pretty high energy, and once again, Trump seemed to be on top of his game, and he endorsed DeSantis. Now, in terms of how the rally was received nationally, there was a big storm made out of the fact that CNN reporter Jim Acosta was quote-unquote harassed by Trump supporters. At least that's how he and other mainstream media people tried to spin it later in the week. This is pretty funny, though. This is an excerpt from CNN right before the Trump rally occurred on Tuesday night, and you can see in this clip how just totally unhinged Acosta becomes. It's pretty funny to watch, and then I'll have an analysis of this afterwards. Clip number 2, go.
Mueller investigation's first trial now underway. President Trump and his lawyers seem to be cooking up a new defense slogan of their own. The president will hold, by the way, a campaign rally shortly down in Tampa, Florida.
Which, by the way, let me just say this, Wolf Blitzer. Again, the Mueller Russia investigation has absolutely no feet whatsoever. None. CNN and the rest of the mainstream media, they keep purporting this whole Russiagate thing as if it was a factual thing that happened. Yet there was absolutely, there has been absolutely no conclusive proof to even hint that Trump was involved in meddling with the Russian elections. So CNN keeps barking up the wrong tree with this. But anyway, so Acosta was at the rally, as you'll see here in a moment, and it's funny because he didn't really get heckled by Trump supporters as much as he just got called out. None of them really tried attacking him, but yet that's kind of, well, that's what he'll claim, that he's being harassed by Trump supporters later on. So continuing on with this clip.
Shortly down in Tampa, Florida. Let's go there. Our chief White House correspondent, Jim Acosta, is already on the scene for us. So, Jim, what's the latest?
Right. Well, President Trump is in Florida tonight to do some campaigning ahead of the midterm elections, but the president and his team are still busy trying to get their story straight on the Russia investigation. Mr. Trump is now echoing his lawyers who have gone from saying there was no collusion during the 2016 election to insisting that collusion is not a crime.
You can hear the crowds booing in the background.
Breezing past the cameras on his way to Florida, President Trump appears to have a new strategy for the Russia investigation. Ignore questions from reporters while spinning up a new defense where he's shielded from outside scrutiny. Tweeting,
what the hell is the legitimacy of the Russian thing? Okay, I've been asking you this for close to a fucking month on the show. Again, pardon for my French. I know that there are some listeners out there of the podcast, but honestly, this whole Russia crap is getting really aggravating, and particularly when it's coming nonstop from the communist news network. Anywho.
Collusion is not a crime. It's a notable leap from the president, who has repeatedly claimed there was no collusion with the Russians during the 2016 campaign.
There is no collusion. You know why? Because I don't speak to Russians. There's been no collusion. There's been no crime. I can only say this. There was absolutely no collusion. Everybody knows it. Every committee, there's no collusion. There was no collusion with Russia other than by the Democrats.
The president is now amplifying what his outside lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, said Monday.
I'm not even know if that's a crime, colluding about Russians.
And another Trump attorney, Jay Sekulow, said today.
Well, that's not just technically correct. I mean, that's actually the law. But there's no violation of law, statute, rule, or regulation that we have seen after reviewing this case for a year. And I think Bob Mueller will come to the same conclusion.
Democrats aren't buying it.
I can't keep up with Rudy Giuliani's theories of defense, and they change almost by the hour. Collusion at one point never happened. At the next point, if it happened, it's not serious.
Wait down.
All right. Are we really, again, this is all bullshit with Russia. So is there anything else really worth covering? Okay, well, maybe a little bit.
This Trump crowd here in Tampa, Florida, they're saying things like CNN sucks, go home, and fake news. Wolf, obviously, all of those things are false. We're staying right here. We're going to do our job and report on this rally to all of our viewers here tonight. Wolf.
As you should. All right, Jim Acosta, we'll stay in very close touch with you. Thank you.
Well, CNN does suck, and that whole entire segment was them, doing their absolute damnedest to report on a false story that hasn't been proven yet at all. I mean, that is the only card that the left and the Democrats have to play, honestly, is this whole Russiagate thing. But it gets even sillier here, ladies and gentlemen, because the day after the rally in Tampa, Jim Acosta goes on HLN, which is CNN's sister network, and talks to S.E. Kopp. For those of you who remember, S.E. Kopp actually used to be a conservative. She used to be more of a conservative libertarian pundit, and then she joined the Never Trump movement and became completely unhinged in 2016, and as a result got her own talk show on HLN, which is CNN's twin network. Well, Jim Acosta was on her show last night basically lamenting, oh my God, Essie, it was so horrible being name-called by Trump. It's dangerous for journalists. So let's have a giggle at that, shall we? Clip number 3 goes. Oh, okay, I love the caption of this video too. Acosta on Trump rally. It felt like we weren't in America anymore. Okay. Clip number 3.
I want to talk to someone who was at the rally in Tampa last night. He's covered countless of these and has become one of the president's favorite human punching bags. CNN chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta. Jim, we've seen your videos, and I've been to these events too. I've met with countless Trump supporters. Even I was shocked at the level of vitriol that was aimed your way last night. Give us an idea of what it felt like to be in the middle of it.
Well, Essie, I mean, honestly, it felt like we weren't in America anymore. I don't know how to put it any more plainly than that. Americans should not be treating their fellow Americans in this way. But unfortunately, what we've seen, and this is
Yeah. You're totally right. You're totally right, Jimmy. But you know what else? Americans and American journalists shouldn't be accusing half of the population of being neo-Nazis or white supremacists either, which is what your network does every single damn day. Ever since the election, they've tried to pin the motives of a few radical assholes like Richard Spencer and David Duke, and pin it on the entire Trump supporting base. And you know, in the other clip I played, in the background when Acosta was at the Trump rally, there were several signs that said stuff like blacks for Trump and women for Trump too. But you know, CNN chose to omit the fact that those groups were there too. No, we're just all racist, you know, misogynistic homophobes too. So yeah, Brian, you're right. Acosta is kind of a pussy. I will say this though: the SD couple, although she's never Trumping, although I don't really like her politically, she's still well, she's kind of a MILF, to be honest. That's right, I said it. Yep. But anyway, yeah. So you know, Jim Acosta wants to claim that, you know, he feels like he's not living in America anymore. Well, good. You know, that's how the rest of us feel. Anyway, let's see if he has anything more to say for himself.
For some time since the campaign. I've been talking about this as an issue since the campaign, when the president during the campaign referred to us as the dishonest media, the disgusting news media, liars, scum, and thieves, and so on. And then he rolled that right into the Oval Office and started calling us fake news and the enemy of the people. He is whipping these crowds up into a frenzy to the point where they really want to come after us. And we have these bike rack like barriers around the press cage, as we call it, to protect us essentially from people who might take things too far. It's unfortunate because, and I try to calmly talk to a lot of these folks at the rally last night to say, listen, hey, tell me what you want to talk about here. Why are you guys so upset with us? And they would kind of go through a list of questions. Most of the questions were about, why don't you guys report positive news about the president? And I said, hey, you know what? We do that. We were reporting on this positive job numbers in the economy last Friday. And my sense of it, Essie, is that that these opinions that these folks have at these rallies, they're shaped by what they see in the primetime hours of Fox News and what they hear from some conservative news outlets that just sort of give them this daily diet of what they consider to be terrible things that we do over here at CNN. It's very unfortunate, but it's a pitting of American against American, and honestly, it needs to stop.
Last night you tweeted, I'm very worried that the hostility whipped up by Trump and some in the conservative media will result in somebody getting hurt. We should not treat our fellow Americans this way.
Okay, stop. Okay, jeez. Okay, once again, he's worried about Trump dividing Americans and Trump causing danger. I don't know. Who was it that was disinviting family members to holiday events and weddings and other things after the election because they didn't like the candidate? Oh, that's right. It wasn't Trump supporters disowning their family members. It was Hillary supporters who were disowning their family members who supported Trump. Who was it that was stoking the flames that half of America was white supremacist and wanted to kill black people and Hispanics and whatnot, even though that wasn't true? was it Fox News? Oh, that's right. It wasn't Fox News at all. It was CNN and this slime ball right there. Yeah. Yeah, Jolly's absolutely right. They're accusing others exactly of what they're doing. Never change. Yeah, but I will say that once again I will say that for a former conservative turned never Trump, S.C. Cupp is still she's still kind of a hot broad and a piece of ass, as Nick DiPaolo might say. But yeah.
Press is not the enemy. Trump's been bashing the media for a while now. What makes you think it's at this sort of pivot point now, this really dangerous pivot point?
Well, this ought to be good.
For some time, I was worried during the campaign that a journalist was going to get hurt, and it has been building. But when you refer to the members of the press as
you were worried that journalists were going to get hurt. What about when our side? What about when Mike Cernovich went to Antifa rallies, and almost got hospitalized because of that. Journalists were assaulted during the 2016 election, and they've been assaulted this year. They're not big network corporate journalists that can afford security like you can, but no, I mean there have been some independent citizen journalists that have been assaulted or come close to being assaulted. All right.
The enemy of the people, you're essentially putting targets on our backs. And it's not just some, Joe Schmo on a bar stool.
Yeah, and when you keep calling us, Nazis and white supremacists and whatnot, and stoking that lie, you're putting targets on our fucking backs as well. Have you ever thought of that, you piece of shit? No, obviously you haven't. And this is why I don't, take YouTube money or, any sponsors. This is exactly why I'm on Patreon. So that I can say whatever the hell I want. And not have to worry about getting demonetized or some shit like that. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, what? Oh yeah, hang on, I'm reading the comments. What about when Antifa showed up at a Night for Freedom? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Cernovich's event where he almost got assaulted. But yeah.
In Kalamazoo saying this is the President of the United States. And that comes, with a serious, force behind it. Yeah. And, he has a lot of people out there who are extremely angry at us. And what I've been saying to these folks at these rallies is, hey, watch what we do on CNN, form your conclusions based on that. But
we do, Jim. That's the fucking problem is we do, and you're still lying your ass off about that. All right. What the hell else? We obviously, don't need to watch that anymore. As I said at the beginning of the show, folks, it's been a really slow news week, at least here in America. I guess there's another Trump rally in Ohio. from what I'm seeing. Someone asked me to cover the whole LeBron James thing, so I did have a news story pull. I do have a news story pulled up about that, and this is good. This is funny. This comes from the LA. This comes from the LA Times. Trump faces new accusations of racism after mocking LeBron James's intelligence. Oh, this ought to be good. Okay. President Trump faced renewed accusations of racism on Sunday after mocking the intelligence of Lakers superstar LeBron James and broadcaster Don Lemon of CNN. Trump took to Twitter late Friday night to bash Lemon after his interview on Monday with James and ended up slandering the celebrity athlete as well. In the interview, James reiterated his criticism of the president as racially insensitive. LeBron was just interviewed by the dumbest man on television. He made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. I like Mike, Trump tweeted, apparently reinforcing former NBA superstar Michael Jordan. So that's what that was about. Trump's criticism of the intelligence of James and Lemon, who are both black, comes after he has repeatedly referred to Representative Maxine Waters, Democrat of Los Angeles, as being one of the most prominent African American members of Congress, and a vocal Trump critic, as being an extraordinary low IQ person. Yeah, and Maxine Waters is also the person who's been, saying that we should all, that people should go and attack Trump supporters as well. So, I have little sympathy for Maxine Waters at all. Okay. The president's attacks on Waters has become a staple of his political rallies, as it was Saturday night in Lewis Center in Central Ohio, north of Columbus, where he called her a seriously low IQ person to the usual cheers. During his campaign and presidency, Trump frequently has used racially charged language, particularly in talking about Latino immigrants. He faced his strongest backlash nearly a year ago for failing to immediately condemn the deadly violence in Charlottesville, Virginia, during a march by white supremacists and neo-Nazis, many of them armed, and for equating them with the anti-racism protesters who turned out. Okay, he did condemn the Charlottesville neo-Nazis, you dopes. But Antifa also showed up and started. See, this is the whole problem with Charlottesville. Yes, there were neo-Nazis, but there were also Antifa people there who, in my opinion, and the opinion of millions of others of Americans, Antifa and the neo-Nazis are the same, are two sides of the same coin of racist extremism. And so all Trump said was that there were good people on both sides, meaning, peaceful Democrat protesters who had showed up, and, peaceful Republicans who were just showing up to observe, but that there were also equally bad people on both sides at Charlottesville. And that's what the media always keeps forgetting with Charlottesville. Okay, no one, and I mean no one that I know of, was saying, Richard Spencer being in Charlottesville, he's such an awesome guy. No one was saying that the neo-Nazis being there was a good thing. But this is also the slippery slope with freedom of speech, because technically they did have a right to assemble and, do their little disgusting thing. And, here's what I will say about Charlottesville, and I've said this before. If the media had just left Charlottesville alone on that day, which, believe it or not, Charlottesville happened almost about a year ago now. If the media had just left Charlottesville alone, then the 50 fucking neo-Nazis, could have just done their stupid, Zeke highlighting or whatever they did, and, then left. And if the media hadn't covered it, no one would have heard about it, and the neo-Nazis wouldn't have gotten the attention they deserved. But, by all means, let's just call Maxine Waters a hero for standing up to Trump, even though, she's called for violence against Trump supporters as well. Okay, back to the article from the LA Slimes. Trump has also been outspoken in slamming black NFL protesters for kneeling during the playing of the national anthem as a protest of police brutality and racial injustice. Yeah, because no one in America wants politics mixed in with their football. People are sick of it, and we just want the game to be left alone. His frequent comments on that topic have led some professional sports teams, such as the Golden State Warriors, to decline the traditional congratulatory White House visit after winning a championship. Trump's tweet about LeBron James drew immediate criticism on social media, particularly given that James was in the news last week for opening a school for at-risk children in his own town of Akron, Ohio, funded by his foundation. James's I Promise School was the basis for Lemon's CNN interview. Lemon made the connection responding to Trump's attacks, asking in his own tweet Sunday morning, "Who's the real dummy? A man who puts kids in classrooms, or one who puts kids in cages?" Okay, Don. I think you just proved that you really are a dumber. That you really are a dummy. He wasn't calling LeBron a dummy. He was calling you a dummy. Okay. LeBron, who did not address the president's controversial attack against himself was referring to the Trump administration's controversial zero-tolerance policy of separating as many as 3,000 immigrants' children from their parents as they cross the southern border, which, as we've gone over on the show before, ladies and gentlemen, was not a policy started by Trump. He was the one who ended it. It was started, I think, during Reagan's administration, from what I recall. Okay. Okay. Many others have directly or indirectly accused Trump of racism. Okay, yeah, and who did all these people vote for, by the way? Okay, James also received kudos from First Lady Melania Trump, who had distanced herself from her husband's controversial behavior before. In a statement released by her spokesman, the First Lady solicited an invitation to James's school. It looks like LeBron James is working to do good things on behalf of our next generation, and just as she always has, the First Lady encourages everyone to have an open dialogue about issues facing children today, said the spokeswoman Stephanie Grissom. Her platform centers around visiting organizations, hospitals, and schools, and she would be open to visiting the I Promise school in Akron. Okay, James has called Trump a bum on Twitter and campaigned for his Democratic opponent in 2016, Hillary Clinton. Okay, so there you go. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's why Trump was criticizing LeBron James. He wasn't criticizing James for opening a school or any of that. He was criticizing James for calling, him a bum. Okay. In the CNN interview, James said he called Trump a bum because he's kind of used sports to divide us. And that's something I can relate to, because I know that sports was the first time I was around someone right. Really, LeBron? I mean, I understand that you were from a, impoverished part of town. But, that's a little, retarded, even for, even by, my standards. That's just ridiculous. Okay. James said he felt the need to respond to Trump's attacks against the NFL anthem protesters and decisions by athletes to skip White House visits. I can't back and say nothing, James told Woman. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you actually could, LeBron. Yeah, you actually could, okay? Dom, if the interview had strictly been for your school and for, the organization which you've built, which, by the way, no one is criticizing the fact that you've opened a school for, poor and impoverished children. I do respect that, and I have seen a few people on Twitter who, brought that in. I mean, I think criticizing LeBron James for that is stupid. And, for the most part, I have a lot of respect for LeBron James, given that fact. However, I also think it was ridiculous of him to call Trump a bum and then not expect Trump to respond. Okay. Okay. Asked what he would say to Trump if they were to sit face to face, James responded, I would never sit across from him. Okay. Well, there you go. Right there. Republican Governor John Kasich of Ohio, James's home state, who is frequently at odds with Trump, also defended James. Instead of criticizing him, James said we should be celebrating him for his charity work and efforts to help kids. Yeah, I agree. But, and see, everyone wants to celebrate LeBron James. I don't think anyone is actually criticizing James for that. But I think, I can understand where, Trump is getting upset too with, LeBron calling him a bum and then, saying, oh, I don't want you to sit across from me. It really is quite, ridiculous. Okay. Okay. James remains very popular in Ohio. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Alright, now, okay, so that's the article from the LA Times. And, you know what, let me just say this about the whole LeBron James situation, because I do feel, ladies and gentlemen, as if some conservatives have been taking this a little too far. Okay, like I said, for one, I understand why people are upset with LeBron James for calling Trump a bum. I understand that. I understand that Trump supporters are sick of athletes making sports political. I'm sick of this too. But at the same time, I don't think it's the hill that we should die on either. Because I do think that for the most part, from what I've seen, LeBron James is helping a lot of kids, in impoverished areas of Ohio by giving them the opportunities to go to the school, and I do think that's a good thing. I do think that this is one of those instances where I don't condone the way that Trump was perhaps using the tone with LeBron. I absolutely understand the tone he was using against Don Lemon because Don Lemon in my book is an absolute idiot. And I think that's fairly obvious. But overall, I think, I personally have ignored sports for the better part of a year and a half, ever since this whole NFL thing started with the protests from then. LeBron is a horror supporter. F him. Yeah, I mean, Brian, like I said, I understand that sentiment, but I I don't know. I like I said, I understand completely I understand where Trump supporters are coming from. I'm just not so sure if this is really where we should, be hanging out our hat. That's all I'm saying. I've said all I'm going to say on this matter, and, I think I'm just going to ignore, LeBron and the rest of, well, hey, I don't watch basketball, and it's nothing to do with race or anything like that. I never really found basketball to be, entertaining. It's just guys dunking, throwing a ball into a basket, that has no, that has no bottom. And, I know that if I said that, I know that if hearing me say this, John Neary would be crushed if I said that, basketball were a little overrated. But, in all honesty, I do. And, I'm really hoping that at some point we can, we can get back to, watching sports without everything being politicized, and I'm hoping the same with movies and television and all the rest of this. I'm hoping that at some point people can in fact separate politics from entertainment and everything else. I don't think it's possible at this point, but I'm hoping we do. We do get to that point within the next 2 or 3 years. Okay, okay, folks, and that's pretty much all the stories I have for this show. So let me go ahead and check your comments, scroll through them, and see where we're going. So. I think people are forgetting where they would be right now had the candidate LeBron supported won. Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything positive about I'm not saying anything positive about Hillary Clinton. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I think it's pretty hard to. I think criticizing LeBron on his politics is fair game, but I have seen some others attacking LeBron for the school too. Okay, LeBron wants Sam dead. I'm hanging my hat on the peg that opposes every Hillary supporter. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Let me say this. If LeBron were to, try and come up to me and punch me in the face or something like that, then yeah, you bet your ass I would just run his, foot over with my wheelchair or something like that. But, point being, I won't be the one to provoke stuff. So that's all I'm saying. And for the record too, I think Melania Trump handled it pretty well too. She said that what LeBron was doing in terms of opening the school was was a good thing and that she would be willing to visit it. But do you honestly think that she's actually distancing herself from Trump? Because I don't. I think, she's way better at soft-spoken PR gigs than Trump is. Trump is not a PR guy, in all honesty. He's the guy who goes in when you need people to be bossed around and, told what to do. So, I'm looking at the comments, and yes, I know that Jeff needs to be modded. So I thought I had him modded in the past. So I'm going to the channel right now, and we will mod Jeff. So Jeff commented earlier too. Sam, did you see SHS rip Acosta to shreds the other day? No, who is SHS? Do you mean Sean? Do you mean Sean Hannity? Okay. Scrolling down to Jeff's later comments. Do you think the left embraces athletes knowing how popular they are with kids, making athletes' political drives a wedge between older and younger generations? Jeff, I do think that that's the case in certain aspects, but I do think that that's the case in certain aspects, but I think also, though, sorry, I had a bit of playback. I had to pause the playback on my own stream. I think that kids now are, and this is one of the good things about the internet and what we're doing. I think kids now, if you look at it, Generation Z, we talked about this a few weeks ago, Generation Z is actually more conservative than the millennials are. And I think that's because Generation Z is really the first generation to grow up in a total social media oriented culture. Which obviously there are some good, obviously there are some bad aspects to that. But one of the good aspects too is not all of the personalities are manufactured by Hollywood and by big media, right? There are personalities like Steven Crowder, Gavin McInnes, Milo, and myself. Even though I'm still growing, but I still am an internet personality. There are internet personalities who are independent and who are big with Generation Z that are self-made. And so, to answer Jeff's question, yes, I do think that celebrities and and athletes are still a tactic used by the left in a lot of ways, but I think that is kind of fading fast as independent, internet personalities do spring up. And I think it's a double-edged sword because some of them are liberal, but then some of them are also conservative. So, alright, I just went to the, control panel, and Jeff, welcome to the, to the mod squad. So, as far as, did I see Sarah Huckabee Sanders take down, LeBron and CNN the other day? No, I did not, but I bet it was pretty good. Then MJF writes, did you see Paul Joseph Watson and Sargon videos? No, they're probably in my feed, but in all honesty, I get so many videos in my feed now, for this channel that it gets somewhat ridiculous. I don't have time to watch every single one of them, but I will check it out, after the show. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, let's check the time real quick, because I think we've been on for about an hour now, and yeah, we have. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's, that's pretty much the show for tonight. Like I said, it's been kind of a quiet news week, but like I said, talking about LeBron and talking how, CNN just continues to have, bad ratings and continues to earn the, hate and distrust of the American people. I think it was a good show, all in all. So, anyway, folks, I want to thank you so much for, tuning in, and, I see Spiro Lynn say, don't leave me. Well, here's the deal. Spiro, I'm lucky for you, I am now going to be putting out 2 more additional shows this week, in addition to the free one on iTunes. So, yeah, starting in August, we kind of started this, in July, but starting this month, I will be, posting 2 additional podcasts that will be pre-recorded, exclusively for Patreon supporters, and you can access those on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll have video, but then I'll also have podcasts, and those ones will be a little bit more free form. I haven't decided what I quite want to do with those yet, but I'll let people know when those will be becoming available. So, in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in to tonight's program. There's no American Watchmen Roundtable tonight. One of our hosts had to take the night off for a family emergency, but we will be back next week. And from all of us here at NGC Studios, have a good night, God bless, and God save this great nation. I'll be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Good night, God bless, and God save this great nation.